Yeah, somebody else saw it and pulled that there. Alright, I'm going to be talking facing that way if you want to see what's but I'm going to need this over here in a second. So, we are going to be doing the 312 hurdle today. Addie, I think that's the hurdle you're doing anyways. You two have both went back to your hop hurdle, alright? So sometimes if we're not getting everything done very well with the hop hurdle, some of our form is off, we go back to the 312 hurdle, which is a 4-step approach. With that approach, there's no movement on the first step. Some of you take a movement on the first step. So normal start, up on toes. First step is nothing. Second step is 3. Third step is 12. Body has to stay, back has to stay nice and flat when we get in this position. Because remember, when your arms lift up over your head, your back naturally wants to arch. So we have to keep that nice and flat. And that last step, it's 4 steps. We just hit our 3rd step. The next step is your hurdle step. Look where your arms are. They're all the way at the top. Where do they need to get to at the end of the hurdle? Right back to the same spot. So how many degrees do we get to swing? Wait, don't you say that, you're smarter than that. How many degrees do we get to swing if we start at 12 o'clock and move all the way around the clock to 12, back to 12? 360 all the way around. Okay, so standard hurdle. Standard hurdle. We get back there. If you've got good shoulder flexibility, you can get pretty far back. But once you get pretty far back, the shoulders are going to start to drop, and now we're going to have some balance issues anyways. So when you have that standard hurdle, you're swinging from here to the top. That's not a lot, is it? Not compared to what we just got. So what's going to happen is you're going to have strong legs. You have to learn to resist the board. Plant the leg, resist the board until we get our arms back up. Because remember, when your foot touches, your hands should almost be there too. But you're going from here, from the top, and then you are going to get the arms all the way around. So when that foot presses down into the board, the arms are right there behind it, because then you have to hold the board down while you're raising your arms. Some of you don't hold the board down. You try to stand up when the arms are moving, and then everything else is moving. So, every time you leave the board in the hurdle, doesn't matter if it's a hop hurdle or standard hurdle, the board's going to be bouncing and you're going to be landing back on it while it's moving. So every time you leave in the hurdle, it's going to bounce twice on the fulcrum. It will bounce, bounce, and then as you're coming down, the board's coming down, and we're meeting the board as the board basically comes back level and is dropping. So you're dropping with the board. So what we have to focus on today, we're going to focus on that drop. So think about force equaling mass times acceleration. If you jump off the 1 meter, you jump off the 3 meter, which one do you go faster when you hit the water? 3 meter, right? You're falling longer, right? You're falling longer. So the same thing with our approach. If we can put force the board over a longer period of time, we're going to get greater force. Okay? So we want to remember that. So we want to stay with the board as long as we can. But we're loading the board more than once. In our hurdle, we're loading the board, and then when we come back down on the board, we're loading the board, right? So we're gonna focus on a high drop, because the higher you're coming down and in, the more force you can bring with you. The more force you put into the board, the more you get back out. We understand that, right? Okay, so the high drop, we're gonna use the raised maximum to do this. Now remember, arms are gonna be at 12 o'clock, and we want the palms out, because if the palms are out, they're ready to end locate. Once we go to swing, palms will turn back, and we're going, it would be your pendulum swing right down to the hips, okay? Don't get those swings out here, because we're coming through the hips, down into the push point. Down into the push point. Most of us hit the push point and stand up, but we have to hit the push point and hold. So our drops, once we get to the drills, we're gonna be starting off up on our toes. Because on that last step, on that 3rd step, we want to go up on our toes. That's where we're coming in from a higher point. Okay? And we're going to be practicing the drop. Alright? We're going to be practicing the drop and bringing the arms around. But what we want to focus on today is number 1, high point before we step in. Number 2, we have to have set knee in the hurdle, just like we set our knees when we come down and land on the board. We set the legs before we land. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to have knee flexed, and you're going to have foot flat. That's our goal. Coming from the high point, boom, right into that contact position with the hands, and we're gonna have flexed knee, set knee, flat foot, okay? Once that hits, this stops, boom, locks out, and our arms and knee, there's the puppet on a string. At this point in time, we're gonna change something slightly different. We're gonna stand up, and then as we go through the ankle, we're going to step up, okay? Got that? So, this is kind of a two-phase. We can do one of the drills right here, and then the other drill goes back off to one of the Bosu balls. So this adds a little bit of that balance and stability for some of that strength too. So, if you're standing at the back, arms will come up, palms out, high wire. Okay, we good with that? That's at 12 o'clock before we step in on the fourth step. You are going to then draw your drive leg back, because that drive leg's back here, coming in, correct? Good. Now you're going to go up on the toe for the high drop, and you're going to bring your foot in front of you. And as you bring your foot in front of you, the arms come down. So by the time you make contact with the board, your hands should be right behind your hips. We're now getting in around, oh goodness, that's like 5 o'clock. Okay? And once we hit that position, you're going to stop, and then you're going to maintain the knee position. You're going to lift, you're going to stand up, and then you're going to push through and step out. Okay? So this is the first one we're going to do. So we start from right back here. Hi, Micah. Good. High wide, palms out, drive leg back. There's some balance on these too, up on toes. Then we're going to drop. And remember, we're trying to go flat foot. We're not trying to go toe first. We're trying to go whole foot press. Once we hit whole foot press, we go puppet on a string. Now we straighten the leg. Now as we push through the ankle, we step out. And it would be nice to be soft on the land on these. Once you do a set of these, about 5, then you're going to go to the Bosu ball. It's the same thing, you start on the end. Arms through here, palms out, drive leg back, up on toe, high drop. You're going to try to stop. Once you stop, lift through, stand up, and then you can step off. Alright? This one is for balance and stability. This one is just making sure you hit the positions. So we're going through it piece by piece. Alright? Okay, let's try it. We got 3 of them. This one's a little higher because this is higher. So, do about 5 just on the mat, and then do about 5 off the mat. So 2 can share one, that's fine. Right back on the edge. Arms up to high wide. Now remember, when your arms go up, what does your back want to do? Your back wants to naturally arch. And when you lift your arms, that for some of you is going to kill your foot placement. So where we're placing that foot, if your back is arched, that is going to change the angle of that hip too. Now you're going to be stepping out usually behind where you'd like to. You got balances. Once you're there, you're going to put your drive leg back, the one you jump off of. Go up on your toe, then you're going to bend. And you got to hit that. It takes some timing. Those arms got to be quick. They should be down right about 5 o'clock when you hit. And it's a dropping action, not a stepping action. Once you're up, watch. Both feet are off the mat. Both. Well, you have to on this drill. No, we do not want to lean in the approach. But I would have to sit there and hold you balanced while you were standing there. And then you would still have to lean forward to take a step. So yes, no, we shouldn't lean, but this is work. I already told you what we're working on for this one. And this one, first one is getting your arms from there to there and hitting and locking out that knee position. High drop, that's better. Now you are not stable right here. That drive foot is your balance foot. So when you step in, boom, your center of gravity really on these is going to be right over your heel. Because remember, when we step in, our center of gravity, when we step in, ladies, step in, our center of gravity should be slightly behind. We're landing on the board, but remember, the board's going down. So if your center of gravity is directly over your feet and the board goes down, it's going to move forward. So that center of gravity is really slightly behind when you're in this position. And as you swing your arms, your center of gravity comes over the top. And that's where you're in a position to stand up. Okay? Continue. We're working to go from a high point drop, boom! And you just gotta stop. And once you stop, that balance, lift, then remember we stand up from the knee, and then you can extend through ankle and step down. Now both feet are still on the mat. Both feet should be off of the mat for a period of time. You are coming from a high point, and you're dropping down. Picking up that foot, dropping down. Flat, whole foot catch. Flat, whole foot catch. Hands should be at least, it'd be 7 o'clock. In between 6 and 7 on that clock. Good. And then you can extend. Once you go through ankle, you can kind of swoop, pop off and catch. That's better. Now, watch where your knee is compared to your hip and your center of gravity. If you're stepping in there like that, think about something pushing back on your body. Yep, that's better. Remember, get a few up here, and then this is the challenge. This is for you to actually drop down a little bit. You're doing the exact same thing, but you have to try to hit the center.
What?
You're doing the exact same thing right there onto the bocce ball. This is harder on the bocce ball, but most of it is the initial part, being able to drop and being able to play.
No, it might be fine. I don't know. Wait, arms too? I feel like I need to.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's the board. That's the hit the board. Not bad, but you're supposed to be knee bent still, and you got to hit that position because you got to stay there while your arms swing. There's no movement in the body. No movement in the body when the arms swing. Like a big thing. Realize that because your arms swing a lot. No movement should be made unless we do the action of the down. The jump off of these isn't that big. Over there's a little bit more. But I want you focused on standing up through the knee before stepping out. Not bad. But you're like swinging before you started to move. You want to hop off. Remember, you can push off your back foot. I know you're up on your ankle, but you can still push off that foot. Yes. Yes, you're going from the highest point possible on that third step. Highest point possible on the third step into a low, balanced, strong position. High to low. No, you got to you're here, but then your arms are like going, and then you want to jump. That's what you do on the diving board. Your arms are in charge. They do lead the legs, but on this one, you want to hop, boom. So, did you see how I made my movement towards the landing?
Yeah.
And as I move towards, boom, then I'm swinging down into the push foot. That's better. Now you have to learn to stabilize, and then when you can get a good balance, maybe a few more up there, better so you can hit that position stronger. This is the challenge.
Oh.
Because most of you, when you step in, you don't step right down the center of the board like you're supposed to. You might step to the outside, to the left, because you're trying to sit there and you're trying to push the board down as hard as you can. Back, flat, center of gravity. For the most part, staying centered over our feet. As we step in from this position, we're a little bit behind that. We settle in over top as those arms get up over top, and that's the point where we explode. Yeah, not bad. Now stay. Plain and stable. But we're all doing 312 today, Micah, approaches, because we all want to just get reset. We talked about the timing of those in that too. All right. Okay. And please remember when we go on to back approaches, we're doing 4 parts today. 4 parts, not 5, 6, 7 extra bounce parts. Micah, I wanted you to hear that too. Thank you for joining us here at MRDC, working on your hurdles to improve your diving. Because without a good approach, it's a little bit harder to make those dives where you want them to be. Lineups and approaches is where it's at. Thank you. Here's Coach Corey signing off.